Hello everybody. Today I would like to discuss capacitors, and I know this is a very vast subject, and making it to be in within 20 to 25 minutes is very difficult. But I'm trying my level best. So because I'm trying to be the whatever I learned last 22 years and make it the very crisp yeah, that so that once a designer or a circuit hobbyist or a student of engineering college, if you watch this video from starting to ending, I'm dead sure he will be very much confident about to understanding of the capacitors. So the first, the definition, whatever is called it is, a capacitor is a device that stores electrical energy in an electric field, and it is a passive electronic component with two terminals. But I wanted to be make more simplified version. So how you should be remembered throughout the life. So let's consider it a bucket and filled with the water. Now I'm going to relate this with the capacitors. So if your bucket size, if big, it means capacitance is big. If size of a bucket is less, it means capacitance is less. So you can directly relate size of a bucket is nothing but your capacitance value. And whatever the filled water is nothing but a charge. And whatever the, if you say height of the water, it is nothing but a voltage. So if you see the bucket, size of the bucket is nothing but capacitance. The water filled into the bucket is charge, and height of the water is nothing but voltage. So if you general life, if you're seeing any electronic circuitry, by seeing the capacitors, you can easily judge if the capacitor is having very high volume, it means it is having high capacitance. If its height is more, there is a likely more chance is for high voltage. Okay, so size of a capacitor is directly proportional to the voltage as well as capacitance rating. So some of the, let's go through the some theory whatever you have read in the book. Means a capacitor is made of two plates, and one is positively charged if you put it to the across DC source, and the plate will be negatively charged, and in between the materials whatever you will keep it is called dielectric. And this dielectric itself will make different capacitors. Suppose electrolytic capacitors, dielectric, electrolytic, ceramic, the dielectric ceramic. So similar way, it's all a creation of different types, mica, film, and all dielectrics are name of the capacitors. So if you see here uh, a design perspectives, so lead, then one plate, the size of plate is a in meter square, and size of another plate is also a square, and the distance between these two plates is nothing but a d. The dielectric whatever you are pouring inside that is nothing but dielectric with permittivity epsilon. So the actual book definition say capacitance is equal to epsilon naught A by D. So let's consider your A is nothing but length and width. The length is 0.3, width is 0.5 meter square, and the distance between these two plates is 6 into 10 power minus 3 meter. So what is the capacitance? If you put this two value into the equation number 1, you will find that your capacitance is came 0.221 nanofarad. So unit of capacitance is farad. If you assume nanofarad capacitor itself is having some size of small. If you are thinking about the farad, then if you suppose 1 farad capacitor or 100 farad capacitor is equally look like a size of refrigerator. So most of the unit, whatever you are using it in farad, is always either picofarad, nanofarad, microfarad, and some capacitors will come in millifarad. So millifarad capacitors also will be big in size, like you can say 2 liter of Pepsi bottle. So now we will be coming to the type of capacitors. So most of the electronic application, we having very variety of capacitors. So mostly used capacitor is like aluminum electrolytic capacitors, then ceramic capacitors, then motor start capacitor that you have seen in your household. It is will be connected with the induction motor, nothing but our fan. And safety capacitors, now it is required because of our regulatory system is very stringent, and you must have safety capacitor to be put into the circuit. Then supercapacitors, that are very new technology, and these are the comes with this very small size and a very high microfarad. Tantalum capacitors, this capacitors also is a polar capacitors like electrolytic capacitors, and most of other capacitors is generally non-polar. So only polar capacitors we are using it in DC uh, application, and non-polar capacitors we are using it in AC application. Now that's what capacitor specification, and these are the things where our college or school textbook doesn't teach about. So let's go small definition of each one, and let's try to understand what does it mean of the specification of a capacitor. So first, capacitance value. So as we discussed already, the basic unit of capacitance is in farad. Although most capacitors have value well below farad, because farad is very big unit. Basically, if you see in the terms of capacitance, size of a farad capacitor is very big. Then similar tolerance. So each electronic devices will be having some tolerance either with the size or their capacitance value or resistor values, because there will be always impurity present in the manufacturing process or some flaws in manufacturing process. So you will be getting some tolerance. So here in capacitors also you will get somewhere 5% to 10% tolerance. Next is working voltage. So, working voltage of capacitors means what is the voltage you are continuously applying on the capacitors, either it is AC or DC. So, most of the cases, what a designer recommend, at least 20 to 30% you must keep derating factor. If you not keep, and if you slight increase by chance of any surge or any other circuit flaws, your capacitor will be open up. So if you wanted to be like more safer side, so rule of thumb is that keep above 50% of the rated value. So let's consider, suppose if you have application of 12 volt, I'll recommend you to keep the capacitance voltage rating minimum 24. But if in the case of like 230 volt application, so 230 volt into root 2, how much will come? Around 325. So in 325 you can keep your if you're a very good designer, and then you can 10 to 20%, means for 400 volt you should must keep it, and above then that is very good. But electrolytic capacitors are restricted to with higher voltage. So generally most of the electrolytic capacitor will come 500 volt or 5 or 600 maximum. So all the applications, generally if it is single phase application, we will keeping it of 400 to 450 volt, and if it is three phase application where voltage will be 600 to 700 volt, we will be keeping in two capacitor in series in that. Next is dielectric. As we discussed about all the dielectric materials, whatever you using it is nothing but name of capacitors. So if you see that results are electrolytic, tantalum, ceramic, plastic film, and mica, and all other capacitors. So basically this is the nothing but you're putting it some kind of a insulating material between the plates, and that will be holding the charge. So now working temperature. So all electronic devices, and they were having the limiting working temperature. So if I can say, if your device is designed for some 10 degree to 85 degree C, if any single degree of increment of your uh, temperature, it will be 1 by 10th times degradation of his performance, no matter what is ceramic capacitor, electrolytic capacitor or tantalum capacitor. So you must keep in mind, whenever you are using this capacitor, wherever application perspective, your working temperature should be within the range of your specification of a capacitor. So this is the very critical. If you miss this, or if you not consider this in your design, there is chances of failure is very high. So similar temperature coefficient, so capacitor's value will vary, depends upon the application where the temperature rise. So with the temperature rise, capacitance value will be changed. Next is leakage current. So leakage current, if you see, there is a is always is having some leakage current. If let's consider, if you're continuously charging your capacitor also, then also you saw from the source it will be some amount of current will keep drawing. Even if you suppose you remove the supply, so it doesn't mean that it will be carry the charge with very long time. So it will slowly it will be discharged. So it's also a very important factor, the how leakage current is that. And one more things you should must be keep in mind whenever you are using the high voltage capacitors, because it will store the charges, and if you are not giving the path to discharge, then it will be keep holding for a long time. If by chance if you touch the capacitors, it is the you will get a shock, and it's very fatal, very fatal, because it will be deliver entire amount of charge whatever stored to your body. So I request you, to the students or the circuit designer, those who are having hobbies for this, and the who are going to be new to the in the industry, you must make sure your capacitor is discharged. So discharging a capacitor is very good. You have some known value of resistor, little higher value of the resistor, and you both the terminal you touch with the resistors, but do not try to use your hand to touch the resistors. You should have some tool, and we are insulating material, so touch the two terminals and let it discharges, then only you put your hand inside that. Next is ESR. Is none of the things is perfect. So if you're talking about the capacitors, if you is not only capacitance is carry, it is having the equivalent series resistance as well as equivalent series inductance. So equivalent series resistance, it is nothing but impedance of a capacitor to alternating current, and is particularly important at high frequency, or if you are using in ripple application. So what happens if your ESR value is high, so it will be try to restrict the flow of current. So if you have decided, okay, this is the my ripple current requirement, I wanted to be make more filtering, and I wanted to more smooth DC current whenever you are using for AC to DC converter, then general practice is that you take one capacitors and add other capacitors in parallel. So equivalent ESR value will be less. Okay, so same thing if you go to the ESL. So ESL is also is a similar, is like equivalent series inductance, and particularly these are come into the picture when you are using for high frequency application. So these values may become from 1 nanohenry to up to 20 nanohenry. So if you see the graph of for actual capacitors, if you see the when frequency is low, you are having the some kind of impedance, the high impedance, and whenever frequency is increasing at particular level, that time it's the impedance is almost zero, means there is a self resonance frequency. So only ESR contributes to the impedance at self-resonance frequency. And again, if you further going up, the higher the frequency, if you see impedance again increasing. So this is the V curve you will find out. So whenever you are in any application where you have a frequency, higher frequency side, so you must see the specification, what are the frequency you are having the lowest impedance, and whenever you're going to higher frequency, your impedance will increase. So same thing, this same formula or same concept, they are using it for filtering application. Then ripple current, as I discussed about, if you wanted to make more smoothness of your DC when you're converting AC to DC, then you must know what is the ripple current capability of your capacitors. So this specification is of great importance of circuit where significant level of current are flowing. One of the main application in power supply circuit, particularly within the smoothing section of the supply. So if you see that what is the maximum current is taking, means nothing but what ripple current is taking from your circuitry, and what is the value, suppose 1500 microfarad, what is the use working voltage, is the 40 volt, 50 volt. So this will be all will come with the capacitors. So if you are all aware of all the parameters, then you can go ahead with the how you going to be used in your circuit design. So I would like to first give the design perspective. So one example I am taking it over here for smoothing and filter capacitor calculation. So basically you wanted to be your output of DC is very smooth and there is a no ripple. So let's consider if you are having a HV power supply, nothing but your 230 volt supply or single phase or three phase supply, and this side you are having heavy duty capacitors. So you should most of the designer, they do the mistake, they say okay, this is my input supply, and they will directly connect the capacitors after just they have done rectification and connected it. And if you do like this, if you do so, what will happen? Capacitors act like a short circuit at initial condition. Is nothing but a bucket basically, and is ready to take any amount of charge whatever is coming from the source. So if you switch on this, so directly entire current whatever it is, it will go and fill this. In that cases, most of the time you either your capacitor will fail or your source will get burnt up, or if you have some protection circuit like MCB and other devices, it will be trip off. So what is the general practice industry do is has to be pre-charge either relay or resistors or contactors. So what they do, the first instance they will keep the one relay on, this main contactor will be off, and they will put one series resistance. So what will happen? So it depends upon the series resistance, the current will go to the capacitor. So let's consider if you have a 230 volt supply, then peak value will be 230 into root 2 means 325. So you have the 325 voltage available across U1. Then if you are suppose keeping a 10 ohm series resistance, so current will flow through that, it will be 3.25 ampere. So this will be 3.25 ampere, it will start charging, and as per my understanding it will be takes around 2 seconds maximum to charge entire capacitors. So you can keep some delay by your controllers or by any other means of a timer circuit, and then switch off this first. After charging you have to do switch off the pre-charge relay and then switch on the main contactor, and that time you will not feel any surge or any kind of a drastic. But if you go to the much detailing, you will have to you will see some small spike over there, but it's acceptable, it doesn't draw very huge amount of current, because there is some difference of 10 to 20 volt, and that is only creating some kind of a small surge when your main contactor is switching it on. So now it is how to calculate it. So simple formula, Q is equal to C into V. So Q is nothing but a charge, C is capacitance, voltage nothing but applied voltage across the capacitor. So now what you are going to do, we are differentiating the left side and right side. dq by dt is equal to c dv by dt. And then we know that rate of change of charge is nothing but current. So I is equal to c dv by dt. And again, if you take the c is equal to I into dt by dv. Means I is nothing but what is the your charge current in ampere. Dt is nothing but what is operating frequency. Suppose you have single phase supply of 50 hertz or 60 hertz, so that frequency will come into the picture. Because once you're converting it, it will be DC conversion 50 hertz. If you're converting the bridge rectifier, it will come around 100 hertz. So 100 hertz nothing but somewhere around 10 milliseconds. So you can have a 10 milliseconds and a capacitance value. You can see the if depends upon the charge, whatever the ripple voltage. Ripple voltage basically what is the your starting point and what is your ending point, and ending point to starting point. So if you see that is the del V is nothing but called the ripple voltage in V. So if you aware of this parameter like I, you know that what is my output current and all the things. So charging current, and if you know that what frequency you are operating and what you are expected value of your ripple voltage, so it's a designer should decide how much ripple I should get it. So based on that, if you keep the value, you will get the capacitance value. So this is the for a smooth filtering capacitor calculation. Now next, so you have done the smoothing capacitors, but if you wanted to be, sometimes is required energy requirement, because your input may not supply to the load, because load will be keep varying, and it will take every some cycle. Suppose if you have a single phase supply, it will be 50 hertz, it means it will be every 20 milliseconds, it one complete cycle. So 10 millisecond it will come, again 10 millisecond it will be off, again 10 millisecond on and 10 millisecond off. So in this case, if you see about your charging and discharging, and in between your load will vary in somewhere microseconds. So how this load you will take care of that? So designing of that, what is your energy requirement? So that's why we will be connecting one DC link capacitors between AC to DC to DC to DC. Means basically if you say this is the input stage where you have taking AC 230 volt and converting DC using the bridge rectifier, and then you have a some filter smoothing capacitor and one capacitor that is required for the power requirement. So that's why if you see some of the ceramic capacitors, they're using it for filtering, or some electrolytic capacitors. But if your power rating is goes high and high, you have to use bulk capacitor. So nothing but a your DC link capacitor. So how to calculate this DC link capacitor? And this is very essential, because most of the source of you using it is may not be sufficient to give the complete energy transfer from primary to secondary by their own. So they need one capacitors. That capacitor basically it can discharge very fast. So it's very simple equation, E is equal to half CV square. So and we know that the energy is nothing but power into time, and any practical circuit there will be some losses. So that is nothing but we are having factor efficiency as a factor. So energy is equal to power output into TH divided by N. So TH is what? Hold up time. So let's consider, if you see the waveform over here, you have to one charging circuit and again discharging, again it will be charged, again it will discharge. So if you wanted to be during your discharge time, you are not getting any pulse, or you are not getting any pulse from the input side. To maintain that, you should not drastically reduce the very, suppose let's consider you are charging 325 and you wanted to be discharged up to 300 volt. So 25 volt only you wanted to be have a ripple, and you should not go beyond that down. So that time whenever you having the where your source is not giving you the input, but still you wanted to be check your output should support by the capacitors. So that capacitors, whatever time duration you are deciding, nothing but a holding time. So in that hold up time, capacitor will take care of entire load. So to calculate that, simple, I am just equation number 5, I am making it C side. So C to 2 into P out into hold up time divided by efficiency into V start. V start, if you zoom this graph, means start is like when is charging started and again discharging started. So if you see that what is the my value that's coming down and what is the my value is going to be high. So basically this V start and V finish nothing but your discharging curve. So start means suppose it started with 325 and it's coming down to 300 volt. So V start nothing but 325 square minus 300 square. So it's very simple. So suppose let's consider you have a 5 kilowatt. So 2 into 5 kilowatt as the power. If you hold up time is 10 millisecond into 10 milliseconds divided by efficiency. Let's consider your target efficiency is 85% or 90% or 95%. You can put that 0.95 and start value is suppose it's a single phase 325 square minus 300 square. So whatever value will come, it will give you the capacitance value. Okay, so this is the what from the calculation you will get it. But a rule of thumb is that capacitance value is approximately 2 microfarad per watt for universal main input supply. If you are designing very high-end topology and efficiency is also very high, then 1 microfarad per watt will be normal. So you can suppose your calculation is coming wrong, something is not in the thumb rule, means something you are doing it wrong. So it will be somewhere 1 microfarad to 2 microfarad per watt. So let's consider if you are using it 1 kilowatt, so how much it will be? Somewhere around 2000 microfarad. Suppose it is 3 kilowatt, if you have to 3000 microfarad. So this is the minimum you must keep it. If you are keeping it 2 times, it means like 1 kilowatt 2000 microfarad, 2 kilowatt 4000 microfarad, you are in completely safer side. So next other application you will be encounter, it will be RC pass filter. So basically it's the low pass filter where you wanted to be take up all the frequency above than your desired value. So let's consider if you wanted to be target at 100 Hz and you wanted to be any frequency more than 100 Hz, it should could not cross the my input to output. So first of all, I would like to say what is the X is equal to nothing but 1 by 2 pi Fc. This is the all normal formula we have studied in 9th, 10th classes. So let's consider I am taking resistors value is 4.7 ohm, 4.7 kilo ohm and 47 nanofarad. So Xc I am covering somewhere around 33k. Then what will the V out will be? V out will be as like a voltage divider circuit V in into the Xc divided by square root of R square plus X square. These are also is the very formula where we are studying in 9th and 10th and we are getting 9.9 volt. So if frequency is 100 Hz, so you are getting the V out 9.9 volt. If your frequency is depends upon the selection of R and C, so which called is the cutoff frequency. So if you calculate cutoff frequency, it's coming 720 Hz. So at 720 Hz, you will see your output is drastically started decreasing. So if you are targeting like a designer, okay, my operating frequency is 100 Hz, but I wanted to any frequency if it's coming more than 700 or 800 or 1 kilohertz to be completely down, or I wanted to make some output should be minus 3 dB. So this is the what here we are completely making output to be down. So any frequency or any input is coming, the frequency is more than 720 Hz, it will be the output of voltage will be drastically decreased and it will be very low. So that's why it is a low pass filter. Then is a high pass filter, then notch filter, lot of things. Capacitor is a so vast application, you keep reading and keep exploring. So I do not want to be like keep everything in 15-20 minutes, so I have stopping this three is a major requirement for a circuit designer for their application. So how now you do the swapping of a capacitors? So basically first as I discussed, you have to design what is the value of capacitor required, then what is the tolerance is okay for as per your application, and then what voltage rated means what continuously voltage you are applying to the capacitors, and then similar what is the equivalent series resistance, what is the lifetime you are expecting that is come. So suppose this is the 2000 hour at 85 degrees C. So if this capacitor is lifetime is 2000 hour at 85, so at 85 is 2000, but if you are operating at 25 degrees centigrade, it may be 10,000. Then what is the your operating temperature range, like 40 degree to up to 85 degrees C? Or you want it to be polar or is non-polar capacitor. So these are the input you have to give it to the requirement. Then application where you want to do automotive requirement and ripple current, anything if you have like 123 milliampere at 120 hertz. So this one, if you have complete detail of your requirement, then you can contact to the manufacturer, and manufacturer will recommend their part number, their manufacturing, their description, and all the details whatever you are expected from as per your design. So these are the things you will be getting, depends upon this one. So now if you wanted to be shop by their own, okay, so you can go directly to the Mouser DZ key element 14, and you can select the manufacturer, packaging, series, data, all the things whatever you have seen as per the requirement, you can do it. So these are the things, yeah, the basic. If you see the look into that, like electrolytic capacitor will similar look like this, tantalum will be somewhere look like this, and ceramic will be look like this, polystyrene capacitor will be look like this. So somewhere if you have a real picture of that, you can have seen if you're going to the any electronics like Mauser DZK elements, all the pictures, photo, everything will be given over there. Thanks for watching the video. If you like the content of this video, I request you to please share with your friends and colleagues. They definitely will get benefit from this. Thank you once again. Have a good day.